Okie dokie. So, for the ski cracks out here, there are different turning styles and different turning techniques when it comes to skiing. There's the stem turn, there's the snowplow turn, there's the parallel turn, right? Does that sound familiar? But what is the number one? What is the number one turning technique that you need to master if you ski in Europe? I'm looking at my Austrian friend here. What is the number one swing technique that you need to master in Europe to be a real pro? Actually, even beginners really need to master this in their sleep. And if you want to, we can teach you later. Sorry? Yeah, no. Ivo, you should know. It's called the Einkehrschwung, and what this means is, this is a special turn technique that you do where you basically turn right into the bar and grab an alcoholic beverage. And that is a real word in the German language, in particular in Austria, and that's the one turn to master. There you go. Sorry, it works really well, yep. And also here. Yeah, it works, yeah. We'll practice tonight, yeah. Cool, so from Moguls to metrics. We picked this title for a very particular reason, and I'll explain to you in a second. So, my name is Christoph. I work for a company called Agile Data Engine. I hail from Munich, and I will be presenting together with my colleague Pasi, who's from Finland. The reason we have a German and a Finnish guy here up on stage is because we wanted to give you the most passionate, the most fiery presenters available in our company. So what we will do is, let's do a quick level set on where we are as an industry. I think it's a really interesting time, especially in 2024. And then the core of our presentation is we want to share some recipes for success, because our team has been working with well over 40 to 60 different customers in the Nordics and globally on helping them in their data transformation that Sol just talked about. And then lastly, we'll just give you a very quick introduction to who we are so that you know who you're dealing with tonight at the Einkehrschwung practice. But let's get started.
Good morning, my Lieblings. I'm your ski instructor for the day, Glenn Robert Flockenstoffer. Before we get started, a little bit of basics, okay? Before we make the bigger turn, we make the little turn.
I have really seen.
So, how do we do with the little turns? This was Glenn Plake. That was in Joe's presentation. We didn't talk about it, actually, accidentally. Glenn Plake is a great guy. So, mogul skiing. Why the title mogul skiing? For any of you who ski or who don't ski, you will probably appreciate that is mogul skiing is the pinnacle of skiing. I mean, whenever you see somebody master the moguls, I mean, holy shit. I mean, holy beep. I mean, you get goosebumps. You really get goosebumps. This is so freaking amazing and awesome. I mean, you just scream, woohoo, this is amazing. But the true reality, the reality is mogul skiing is anything but easy. I've had good days, I've had really bad days, and I've had really, really bad days mogul skiing. It is really difficult. And when we look at business, what we're talking about today is how do you become data-driven? Sol talked about it. Data-driven is one of those overrated words, but how do we actually get to be data-driven? And so I say data-driven is the mogul skiing of our business nowadays. Mogul skiing is being data-driven. The question is, how do we become a better mogul skier or a data-driven organization? There is a proven recipe. When you look at top performers, when you look at top-performing organizations or teams, they do three things extremely well, and it always works, no matter what. Number one is they set a vision. They know exactly where they want to go. Number two, they set a process for how to get there. And then this is really the critical ingredient here. They stick to this process like you wouldn't believe. Example, pro skier says, you know what, I'm going to win 2 medals at the next Winter Olympics in slalom and in giant slalom. This person sits down with her team, they develop a process, a training plan, very detailed, they might adjust based on what's happening. And guess what? They will go after this process with a club. There's no Einkehrschwung in the evening. There's no sleeping in because, oh my gosh, they're not going to go to the SKID conference because they feel like it. They will, of course. Sorry, Chris. So three things. We have the vision, we have the process definition, and then we stick with it. But what's the reality? What's the reality when it comes to becoming a data-driven organization? So I've been in the business since 2003. I started with a company called Cognos. You guys remember Cognos? Any Anybody with power play cubes? Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Yeah. But, I mean, the funny thing is the issues that we talk about today are still very much the same issues that I talked about in 2003 when I first entered this business. It's still the same. What's the number one BI tool in the world? Excel, exactly. Guess what it was in 2003? Excel, actually, Lotus 1, 2, 3. I got you. So, I mean, in other words, it's really difficult, and that's why I say it's mogul skiing. That's why we picked the title mogul skiing. So why is that so? Why are we struggling so freaking hard in 2024? There are a few reasons. Let's quickly walk through them. So first of all, I mean, the vision. The vision, my gosh. I'm not going to lose any words about this. This is not part of our presentation today. I hear it so many times. You talk to a company, they say, you know what, we want to become data-driven. Why? Well, let's just do something with AI. Let's just do something with data. It happens all the time, and that's really wrong. That's completely wrong. That's like the professional skier saying, I'll go to the Olympics. Let's see what we can do. It's not going to be really successful, right? So, but what are the true reasons behind this? And we see this in the process. We see this over and over again. The process is broken very often, and the discipline as such as well. So number one is technology. I mean, holy smokes, I mean, 2024, the advances we've made just in the past decade is just mind-blowing. I mean, we can do stuff now that we could have dreamt about 10 years ago. I mean, just ChatGPT alone is unbelievable. Really, really cool stuff. But this might sound strange coming from a technology company. We really see that technology can also be really, really distracting. It is actually one of the big hurdles towards success, in my opinion. So for one thing, let's just state this really clearly. Better technology doesn't fix your issues automatically. A better ski doesn't make you a better skier. And what we see happening very often, organizations identify issues, they buy new tech, hoping that it will fix the issues. It won't. The next thing then that happens is distraction. Every time you go out there, look at different tools, you hope and pray, you pay a lot of money for something, you take MDS, and it doesn't help you, you get high. You get distracted. And every time you get distracted, you interrupt your process. Professional skiers never, ever change their equipment. Ingmar Stenmark was the most successful skier in history. He bought his boots in 1972. They stopped producing them in 1979. He still skied the boot in 1989 when he retired, simply for the reason it was a winning team, it worked for him, and he didn't have the time and the chance to change this because he didn't want to get distracted. So distraction. And then the other thing, Joe talked about it this morning. With technology, we seem to be losing our focus on the fundamentals. I mean, look at the data lake. I mean, when the first data lakes arrived, people started saying like, why the hell would I data model? This is difficult. I have a data lake. I can just throw it in there. And guess what? Now here we are. Costs are exploding. People can't find anything. They're complaining about data quality. What the hell? So this is me 2 years ago. Actually, in 2010, I had the honor of hosting a workshop with Bill Inman. And back then we were talking about data modeling. And I was standing there. People were so happy with data modeling. And I said, wow, this is actually really cool. We're really advanced. And here we are in 2024. And Joe is talking about data modeling because he has to, because we've forgotten this lost art. Fundamentals. Fundamentals. This is really important. With technology, we seem to forget the fundamentals. And then last but not least, with data, let's just face it, data is just freaking complex. I mean, data is dirty. Data changes all the time. Business requirements change all the time. Regulation changes all the time. People leave a project. And that makes the whole nature of our business really, really difficult to deal with. And last but not least, some people call him Fred. I call him Hans, based on my own experience. The data hero, the guy that holds up everything, who can time any Python code at any time of the day, and who holds back the organization because he implies to people that he's the only one who can fix it. So to stick with Sol's presentation also, he's the bad apple that tells everybody that you can't do it, I need to be involved. And that is a big thing. Becoming a data-driven organization should be a team sport, and it is. So, but there's light at the end of the horizon. So we have the honor of working with a lot of organizations, actually since 2016 within our own company. And we see that to become a data-driven organization is A, really worth it, and two, there are some really shining examples. One of them is Finavia. You might not have heard of this company. This is the airport operator for all the different airports in Finland. If you've ever been to Finland, you will notice, Pasi, it gets really cold. The winters are really long, actually on average 100 to 200 days a year. And you have a lot of snow. This year has been the coldest year on record for a very, very long time. So operating an airport in this environment is incredibly difficult. So Finavia teamed up with us. They built a data platform, a common data platform called the Data Hub, and they use this to really serve all the analytical needs to their internal customers to help them just integrate new data sources. And they have some really, really cool projects. For example, one which is my favorite, and they're actually famous in the industry for this, they have something called SnowHow. Snow? They use sensors in the runway, and they have little carts that drive around to collect data, and they know exactly how and when to treat the runway so that they keep the airplane turnaround at a very low grade. Fantastic story, and they just keep adding. They're really, really agile, and that makes it really, really cool. So, who the hell are we then? You get my joke? The airport code for Helsinki is hell. So we're Agile Data Engine. We're a company that was actually founded, or not really founded, in 2016, but we're part of a large consulting company in Finland with over 2,000 people called Solita. And we were early in the cloud database game, and we saw very early on that the process was broken. Once again, vision, process, and discipline. We saw that the process and the discipline was broken, and we set out to build some tools to help our customers with this. And then suddenly we ended up with a product where our customers said, well, can we pay for this? And we said, let us think about this. And here we are. So we're now a company. We're about 40 people based out of Helsinki. And to our pride, we've been around since 2016. So this is a very well-established product. And also we have 5 of the largest Finnish companies as our customers. And Pasi has been there from day number 1.
That's true. All right. Good evening from my behalf also. And thanks, Chris, for setting out the scene. I'm going to go through a little bit more in more detail what Chris referred to, kind of this process and discipline and vision, based on our learnings over the years. We started this product journey 8 years ago, but before that, we were working as a consultancy mode in public cloud. So we were the first ones to build public data platforms in the Nordics, in the public data cloud. One of the things that we noticed then that there aren't any tools available for data modeling, data transformations, not any cloud-native tools. And also, we were not very happy about how data warehouses have been built before, so we wanted to change that. And actually, one of the realizations we had at the same time was that what's really the reason behind data warehouses failing all the time. Basically, that they can't stand the time of change or the continuous change. So no matter how you build, what technology is using or whatever, if they are not able to stand the changes gracefully, it will basically die sooner or later. So resilience is something what we should strive for. Not speed, not just scalability, but resilience. So how well the system stands the continuous changes without breaking up or without becoming impossible to maintain, which is one of the things what data warehouses do. So data platform needs to be resilient, but also the way of working needs to be resilient. So the process is part. And also the data team. So you can't handle these separately from each other. These need to be kind of coherent with each other. And actually, based on the success stories we have had so far, what we have been helping our customers to do, we are just more convinced that this is the kind of the North Star what you should focus on for the data teams and the data leaders. So making kind of resilience the main design driver of your system. And it's not just about saying the word resilience aloud. It sounds intelligence, but tells nothing. Actually, you need to be very systematic in your approach. You need to have discipline, you you need to have a good focus on, because the gravity of everything takes into another direction anyway. We will share a couple of our learnings or kind of thumb rules, what you should keep in mind when you are building and maintaining your data platforms. And those are kind of simple things, even obvious, but not easy to implement. And these are easily forgotten in the hassle of technologies and taking new stuff into use all the time. First one, team instead of heroes. So we really need to get rid of the hero mentality in the data business. We have had it all the time and still have. There was this good presentation about this team topologies. So that was a good stuff regarding teams. And in Finland, we have used to being an underdog in team sports and other areas as well. But we have shown that a great team with a shared vision, shared process, discipline, focus can beat a group of superheroes any day. And our ice hockey team is quite a good example of this. So we have a good track record of beating, for example, the Canadian superheroes. And that's exactly what is happening, what we have seen happening with the data teams as well. When you have 10 kind of the best data architects in the same team, rarely good things happen. So some things you need to take into account to kind of make sure that this person lock is not happening. First one, development and operations should be in the same team, period, not separately. Who has a DevOps team for data? Raise your hands. Good. Because that's kind of one of the kind of basic things. It has lots of benefits, but most importantly, it creates a positive pressure for the team and also a sense of respect for others. If you need to be able to continue, maintain anybody else's work, so that kind of automatically makes everybody to think these things. Then you don't need to try to find the best data talent or best tech talent from the market. You need to have a balance of seniority and entry-level members. If I would start now at a customer responsible for my own data practice, I would take one person who is responsible, senior in data management, modeling stuff, one person who knows about public technology platforms or these public cloud platforms. The rest of the team can be even directly out of the school. You just train them. It's not rocket science. And then very critical thing, data modeling standards. We have been talking about those now already many times during the day. If you don't have them, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. And you can invent your own data standards, but there are also existing ones available, so maybe you should consider utilizing those. I've been many times in a discussion with a customer, we've been proposing that, hey, maybe you should think about Data Vault. Maybe you should start or utilize Data Vault in your practice. The answer has been many times that, yeah, it's quite difficult. You need to learn it first and use time for that. Kind of reminds me in this movie, you always have time for learning the new tech, but not these practices. I mean, how stupid is that? The next one. Then the real magic ingredient behind resilience, continuous delivery. It starts from small and frequent deployments. So if you have a version management software in use, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a continuous delivery in place. There's a couple of pictures of Finnish most famous and most successful Finnish ski jumper, Matti Nykänen. Who knows? Who knows Matti? Who recognizes? Who recognizes what ski jumping is? Good. Yeah. Well, one of the things behind Matti's success was that he had a little bit different practice methods. For example, for strength training, others were using 50 kilogram weights. Matti was using 2 kilogram weights and had a lot more reps, obviously. And at that time, the kind of the sport science said that a ski jumper can do 15,000 jumps per year. Matti did double, 30,000 jumps per year. So in sports, you kind of train your body with small and frequent deployments or kind of reps. And in data, you kind of teach the system of handling continuous changes with these. Obviously, you need to have a continuous integration and deployment process that works like a clockwork. So totally automated. When you push commit, it kind of handles everything automatically. But it also needs to be optimized for data context. As hopefully everybody here already knows, that application development and data development are a little bit different things. They have similarities, but they have some things that you need to just take into account. We are, for example, using so-called entity-driven approach. We are able to kind of modularize the big elephant, the big data warehouse, into pieces and optimize the deployment flow based on that. We are also using, our system is also fully metadata based. And we have found out that trunk-based development fits well with data warehousing development. Who knows what is trunk-based development? But you know that's typical the SKID flow practice. So it's about how do you basically do the merging and whatever you do with the version management software. And trunk-based development encourages the developers to integrate their work early on, so which will then end up in much faster development and also better quality. Some of you might know this thing called DORA, DevOps Research and Assessment. Who knows about that? Yeah, but not the same thing. So this is nowadays owned by Google. So they have this research center still for this. They have, for example, found out that trunk-based development is also best for software application development. Actually, Matti is also known in Finland as a kind of contemporary philosopher. So he was known for his funny one-liners, but they hold quite a lot of truth in them often. Life is the best time for a man. When Matti was asked that do you still continue ski jumping next year, he says that 50-60. This is actually one of the most used one-liners in Finland nowadays in any occasion, if somebody asks a question like that. My personal favorite is every chance is a possibility, which could be also in this context that every change is a possibility. Continuous improvement, also important thing. Everybody agrees that it's okay, it's a good thing, but reality is different. I once asked from a customer data team that why don't you have any improvement time reserved for your sprint backlogs? The answer was business is not asking for it. Obviously, they will not ask for it. So need to reserve time, budget, and priority for this thing. And then, why aren't we drinking our own champagne? I think we should be more data-driven in the data development and operations. And especially focus on measuring and improving the development flow. So how quickly the changes are flowing through the system. And also how to restore quickly from failure situations, like deployment failures or data load incidents, for example. So these two contribute directly to how consistently you can deliver value to the business. Does anyone know who invented the wireless heart rate monitoring in sports? Anyone? It was a Finnish company called Polar Electro. It was developed in the late 70s, and it was first developed for cross-country skiing, actually. Then the fourth one, simplify and focus. And now we are talking about technology stack. Finland is also known for forestry industry, and we have lots of know-how for that. Ponsse is a company who specializes in building forestry machines, the best and most innovative in the world. And they are designed to maximize the productivity for their customers so they can focus on their business. I wanted to take this example here because forestry is actually quite controversial nowadays from a sustainability point of view. In Finland, we have quite good practices for this, but in many areas in the world, it's a totally different thing. And actually, in data, we are not so sustainable with our practices at the moment, as you know. And with the way data is growing all the time, and so the processing of data is not a small thing, even from sustainability point of view. So we need to kind of be better in this as well. And actually that's another side of the resilience as well. Any doubts? Or what do you think about these practices? All right. Couple of words about us. Agile Data Engine is combining all of these areas into one single data house platform. So from data modeling to transformations, from observability to insights. So all of these things are available in the SaaS platform. And also we can provide a resilient development framework for you. We are supporting Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift, and the Microsoft Azure Data Warehouse Fabric, or whatever that is called today, changes all the time. Being multi-cloud is very important for us, because we want to also help our customers if they want to change their database platform easily. And they are actually doing it nowadays quite a lot. We have lots of those projects going on. And when you are changing database platform, you don't need to lose all the work what you have already done to your warehouse and all the money investment you have put in place. So we can help in that, and that's quite sustainable and resilient.
Cool. So with that, we talked about agility. We talked about mogul skiing. Becoming a good mogul skier is really difficult. Again, it takes a good vision. It takes a good process and the discipline. And I would say we as a group here today, I mean, you're all really interested in this whole topic. We should really set ourselves the goals to not accept mediocrity, but really to strive for superiority. And that means we really have to stick to this process and be disciplined. And speaking of discipline, if you want to learn more, we have our team here. We have Tavi here in the front, and also we have Martin in the back. If you want to practice your Einkehrschwung tonight and be really disciplined, we'll gladly help you. So with that, thank you so much. It was fun.